Hello everyone, my name is Vu Anh Tuan, or you can also call me VAT. I'm from Vietnam. I have just graduated from Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. So I have spent my last 4 years develop the debate community in Vietnam. So today I want to give you a presentation about how we develop a community in I believe in Vietnam is a very specific region which we can learn much from how to develop a debate community there, and also what kind of difficulties and opportunities we have right now in this debate community. So the first one is why it's so hard to develop debate in Vietnam. The first thing is that we have a conservative society. In Vietnam, people believe that debate breaks the harmony. So in many families, they even say that in many families, they don't allow their children to study debate or to go for debate tournament, because they believe that if children learn debating, they will then go back home and argue against their parents. In some school, teachers also oppose to debate because they believe that students will argue against teacher, and it's something unacceptable in Vietnamese culture. Secondly, we also a developing country. And actually Vietnam is still like in the middle, the lower half of developing countries, where our GDP is around $3,000 per person, but it's only in like very big city. For people from other provinces, the income will even be lower. So it's really hard for parents who want to invest for their children, also hard for school or for country to invest for debate community. Thirdly, debate does not get recognition from the government. So actually our government doesn't support debate, and we don't get many recognition or any support from any kind of government official until recently. Yeah, many schools and also the city and the government and even the Ministry of Education, they don't give much support for debating. And students consider debates as a tool to get good CV for university application. So even until now, many students only go for debating just to get CV or just to have something when they apply for university. Many students, they come to me and they ask, how should I impress my university with debating? So they don't really care much about the quality of the debate or what they learn from it, but much more about how they get a good CV to get to like international university in the future. And last but not least is the language barrier for English debate. So I think this is also mentioned by Yasin in her previous presentation, like what is the barrier for EFL countries to join international tournament. So here are some difficulties we have in Vietnam. So here's debate community in Vietnam in 2016. So debate started in Vietnam in 2012, which is very late. In 2016, we only had 2 debate tournaments a year. We are 30 participants each tournament. And each tournament, we only have 3 judges throughout the whole tournament. So how can it happen? So we only have 8 teams. Each team will have 1 motion. They prep for 1 week and they will debate a week later. And 3 judges will judge throughout the tournament. And each tournament would last for 2 to 3 months. So that's the reason we only have 2 debate tournaments at that moment. And also in Vietnam, there were only 4 debate clubs in 2016, and all of them were located in Hanoi, the capital city. So debate were developed in other provinces and other cities in Vietnam. So what we did in 2016 and 2017, we called the first step to join the international community. So in 2016, the first Vietnamese team joined the international debate tournament. I believe that there are other Vietnamese debaters who joined the international debate tournament before, but most of them represent a university from other countries. For example, we know debaters from Vietnam who study in Princeton or in America, in Korea, and they join the debate teams there and represent that school. But in 2016, the first time there's a Vietnamese institution to join an international tournament. And also in 2016, we have the first Vietnamese team to join Asian Championship. So Thailand UADC 2016, the first time recognized a Vietnamese team. And also in 2017, we have the first WSDC team to join the World School Debating Championship. And at that time, we were the best new nation. After a lot of things we learned from international tournament and international community, we believe that it's time for us to adopt what we learned from international community. So in 2017, the first international debate format tournament, which means like we format all the tournament in Vietnam into the format like it's like Kyushu Debate Open or other debate tournament right now. So the first one was organized in Hanoi Debate Tournament in 2017. And in 2017 is also the first to have a major break in ABP, on-team break in the EFL semi-final of ABP. So this one is the AV Debate Open. One of the flagship for the quality of debating in university in Vietnam. We use this tournament to recruit new debaters in Vietnam, the one who has just finished high school and got into university. So the tournament is mostly for freshmen in university, so we can recruit the next generation for university debating. This one started in 2017, and the AV Debate Open is also the first tournament we have. We invite international CA and international judges to come to judge in Vietnam. For example, in 2018 we had David Benatti, and this year, 2019, we asked Prota to be our CA, which means like we try to have some international quality in the tournament, not only Vietnamese quality, the lower one. This is WSDC Team Vietnam in 2017. So we try to join and we try to make as much international contacts as possible. This one is something I want to talk about. This is to BTV7. So this is a debate platform on television. So as I mentioned before, in Vietnam, people believe that debate breaks the harmony. So we try to change change the concept of idea by broadcast a debate TV show. I believe there are some other TV shows around the world, for example, some in Thailand or the intelligence in Korea. This one is broadcasted on the national television, the channel for education. So by this one, we can not only send the idea of debate to many students, but also change the concept for parents and teachers. We got a lot of views and attention by this TV show. At the end of 2017, the problem is that we are still lack of resources, like general educators, money, and time. So right now we have two choices, which we will need to do both, but which one is more focused on? The first choice, raise quality for only a small group of students, which we call them the elite group, who can join international tournament, who can compete for like high prize, and when they come back, they can have a community, but it's something like unpredictable. And the second choice is we organize more debate tournament with lower quality and have debate club to open. So for me at that moment, I choose the second choice. Like we do both things, but we focus more on the second choice because I believe this is still the step to spread debate to everyone. So the next step is 2018 and 2019. So the first international tournament is Hanoi ABP 2018. That's the first time we have like international tournament in Vietnam. Because every time I ask my Vietnamese debaters to join international tournament, and I believe it's also an obstacle for many developing countries, that if you want to join international tournament, you will need to pay a lot of fee, not only registration fee, airfare, and accommodation, and a lot of other things. So it's a very big obstacle for Vietnamese debaters to join international tournament. So what I did was I tried to bring to Vietnam the international tournament, so Vietnamese teams can join with much lower price. For example, in 2018, ABP students joined for around $200 for each participant, and it's even lower for Vietnam UADC 2019. So that's the idea about bringing international tournament to Vietnam, so Vietnamese debater can debate against good debaters and also get good judging from international judges. And also in 2018 is also the first time we organized the first national tournament. The first national tournament, so right at that moment we decided that it's not only story in the capital anymore, but also for other provinces and other cities need to get involved with debating. So for the first national tournament, we got 11 provinces, and this year, 2019, the second one, we got 13 provinces debating in the national tournament. So students from 13 cities and provinces. Our goal is that we can spread debate to at least 20 to 40 cities. For the information, Vietnam has 63 cities and provinces. So that a large number. So if we want to spread it to all cities and provinces, it will be like very hard for us. The first thing we did this year is the debate summer tour. Is a debate tour. It's a non-profit debate tour where we organize debate summer camp for students in 8 different provinces, and also we organize the Vietnam UADC 2019. So we have contacted with many high school and university. The story behind this is that in Vietnam, every time we contact the university and high school, we need to not only to tell them about the benefit of debate, but also try to convince them that this activity will not, it's not sensitive, why it will get the promotion from many media, and also why it's not something like dangerous to do in Vietnam. It's a hard thing to do every time, but we do it again and again to both university and high school debate club. And in the first month, in January of 2019, we also tried to create the Vietnam Debate Association. It's like an organization for debate club to join and to share their information and share the connection. So here's Hanoi BP 2018, the first BP tournament in Vietnam. So for your information, normally in Vietnam right now we organize debate tournament in AP format. The only 2 BP format until now is Hanoi BP and Hanoi ABP. Yes, we are trying to adopt more BP formats for Vietnam, but because we are lack of adjudicators for the tournament, we only have around 3 adjudicators in Vietnam, located in Vietnam, who can judge BP tournament. So it's hard for us to create one. Our debate camp is the part I mentioned for the Go Summer Tour. We bring debate to other provinces, so in only 2 months, we create 8 different debate camps with more than 600 participants in 8 cities. So it's a large number that we try to bring debate to as many people as possible. And most of them are in Vietnamese, but some are in English, because we believe that language should not be the barrier for them to continue debating. So in some area where we believe that Vietnamese is an easier option for people to join, then we will allow them to debate in Vietnamese. Yeah, this one is Vietnam UADC 2019. So the story is that in Vietnam ABP, in Hanoi ABP 2018, there were no team break in EFL, for sure no team break in the open division, but also we didn't have any team break in the EFL division. The story was that we believe so Vietnamese team need to be better prepared for the big playground like Asian Championship. So before Vietnam UADC, we created a lot of, we try to have more training, or we even create a pre-UADC tournament, the Hanoi Debate Open, to prepare for debaters. So in Vietnam UADC, we have 4 teams break into the EFL division. Like, I believe that is a big step forward for us, because it marks a milestone where Vietnamese debaters right now can try, at least they try to compete with international participants. So at the end of 2019, we have more than 20 debate tournaments in 12 provinces, with a number more than 1,000 participants. This is roughly calculated, because the participant of many debate tournaments is much bigger number. This is only when I calculate 20 debate tournament, but it can even be more. So it will around 150 debaters and 150 adjudicators. So we also require many adjudicators to be trainee adjudicators in the tournament, because we believe that we should develop both debaters and adjudicators, so we will have the next generation to judge the debate tournament. We have 12 debate camps in 2019, and right now, compared to the number we have in 2016, only 4 debate clubs. Right now we have around 50 debate clubs in Vietnam, both in high school and university. But if you see the number, you will see that in high school, the debate club and the debate institution in high school develop much better and more sustainable compared to one in university. For conclusion for this, what we try to do, our method for develop the community is we focus our resource into one city, the capital, then spread more into other cities. The story is that when we have many people and we have many new debaters, the story is that they will sometimes they try to organize debate tournament at the same time or with the same capacity or something like that. We will need to readjust them, for example, to remove the schedule because we are lack of adjudicators. We try to upgrade the tournament every time. So next year it needs to be better than the last year. And then when we have a good model in the capital city, we will spread the model to other provinces for them to follow. And we need to build a group adjudicator, good adjudicator and trainers by sending them to international tournament. And then when they come back, they can be like experienced debater to judge for the kid in Vietnam. And I try to build up small goals, like goals easier to achieve first, not the very big one, and then we achieve it step by step. For example, the first international tournament, maybe we don't have any team break, but we still need to open on for Vietnamese debater to join, so they know that there's an international community out there. And then for the next tournament, like Vietnam UADC, debaters will try to break that. And also the future perspective is that the difficulties we have right now is still lack of skillful training, because not debating in Vietnam right now is still more like people consider it as hobby. So if I have time, I will join debate. If I don't have time, I will quit. As I mentioned to my question, in my question to Yasin, many university debaters, they need to do like part-time jobs or something like that. And also we will need to right now we also need support from international community, but we also need to pay back by organizing international tournament. And compared to high school students, where they are well invested by their high school or by parents, university debaters is not, and community is not so stable, like sustainable. Because first of all, they will need to move forward to their career, and secondly, in Vietnam, if you are over 18, more of your things you will need to pay on your own compared to high school students. They can get if they want to join tournament, they can ask for registration fee from parents. But for university students, if they want to join any tournament, they will need to pay that by their pocket money. And also, as I mentioned, in Vietnam, normally we don't get funding from school for debate tournament. That's still the difficulties we will need to adjust in the future. And also for the opportunities, we have already changed the concept of debate in people's mind. So we have made people understand that debating in English is not only about who is speaking English better. It's also about critical thinking. It's also about pursuing each other. It's the art of persuasion. It's not only about who is speaking English better anymore. And also we changed the idea that debate will break the harmony. We make people believe that debate will have your critical thinking, and debate will improve your skill. That's how we change the concept of debate. And we have more skillful educators and trainers in Vietnam. Like even this number is still small, but compared to what we have before, is much more. We have much more right now. So I believe that that's also some opportunities we have in the future. In the future, I will also throughout this conference, I also want to, because in 2016 when I joined my first international tournament, when I asked how many years have other community developed, for example, Singapore, they have developed for more than, I believe, more than 20 or 30 years. Also, Malaysia, and in Japan or Korea, it's around like more than, I believe it's more than 10 or 15 years. So also throughout this conference, I also want to have more discussion about like the future debate in Vietnam. Like after we have developed for 5 years, what should be the next step for community that right now we have many debate clubs, and also we have spread debate to many provinces, how to make it more sustainable and how to achieve more, not only achievement but also like goals for the student. What should be the next goal for the student? So thank you so much for listening to my
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Is there any open debate tournament in Vietnam that I can join as a player?
I believe that the first open debate tournament in Vietnam this year is Hanoi Debate Open. So we are trying to organize one more, but until now it's Hanoi Debate Open. It will be organized in June normally.
June normally.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yes.
I will be there.
So this is partially a question, partially a suggestion. In terms of how you can move forward, how you could grow, I was just wondering, because you had, I think you mentioned within a span of a month, you had like 4 debate camps in different provinces, was it?
Yes.
Including the Hogwarts one.
Yes.
Nice name. I was just curious as to the funding or the financial mechanism that you use. Is it self-funded? Do you have corporate sponsors? Because you mentioned at the start that there's no government support.
Yes.
I think that's true of probably a lot of places, particularly in Asia. But how do you circumvent that in order to allow it to be accessible to more people? Is that something that you guys are looking at? Is that something you have? Yeah.
So the problem is that so for the Harvard debate camp, actually they got a lot of sponsors because it's organized in Da Nang. Like it's a very rich city in Vietnam. Like I think you may hear about that.
I've been there.
Yeah. So it's a very rich city, but students there don't normally organize like extracurricular activity. So actually, for the Harvard camp, it's quite easy for them to ask for sponsorship from companies or from like organizations. But things don't apply the same to other provinces. Because for example, in Hanoi, because we have many kind of things like debate, for example, they organize MUN, moot court, and many kind of other activities. So it's also hard for debate to compete for sponsorship. Like it's hard to ask for sponsorship because when we only care about academics debate, it will hard for us to spread the name for the company. So like it's not always our debate is not favor for sponsorship. So yeah, until now we only ask for sponsorship by event, which means like through each event we ask for sponsorship for that event specifically, not for long like partnership with any company, because company in Vietnam also they don't normally sponsor anything like annually. Yes, so it's also hard for us to ask for sponsorship like that.
So any other?
I guess there's also this problem in Vietnam about the geographical locations, because like for the southern part, it presumably is really hard for them to go to the capital to go for a debate tournament. So especially from my observation in Japan, is that geographical location also is associated with class, right? So which makes extra harder for people from like rural area or places far from economically developed regions to go to tournaments, which is often concentrated at those regions. So while you are developing the community as a whole, have you made effort to like fix this problem? Like for example, things like providing subsidies for local people from rural area or other approaches like that.
So I think like there are two stakeholders in this question. The first stakeholder, like beside debaters in Hanoi, the capital city, there will be two other stakeholders. First is debaters in like southern or in the middle of Vietnam, in southern of Vietnam, but like they are still from economic city, from rich city, right? And other debaters, even whether they are near Hanoi or not, but they are from rural area, which means like city with lower developed condition, right? So for the first stakeholder, it's actually still easy for us because, for example, the Go Summer Camp we organize in 8 provinces. So 5 out of 8 are from like well-developed cities. For example, Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh City, Huế, which are like big cities in Vietnam. Because when we organize that, at least we can gather like larger amount of students to join, and also students from many other rural areas can. It's easier for them to gather there compared to organize in any rural area. And also like for transportation, right? If we fly, the big city will have airport or like big train stations, so we can move that more easily compared to other rural area. But also for rural area you mentioned, normally first at the beginning we will target it, like in Vietnam we will have a system called the high school for gifted students. Each city or each province will have at least one school like that. So at the beginning we will target them by two ways. The first way is we contact with the gifted high school there and we ask them for whether they want to join it or not. Our second way is by the Children TV show. We open application for all over the countries, and VTV they will have their branch in all part of Vietnam, and students can gather there. And after the application, we will have students gather in Hanoi, subsidized by VTV, the national television. And students can gather in Hanoi for like 1 week summer camp before we broadcast them on the television. And if many students from like rural area in Vietnam, you may have never heard about Đắk Nông or something, right? It's very like remote area in Vietnam. But after they join the Children TV show, they get the recognition from the school and also many support. So now they're trying to organize a debate club when they're back to their city. So that's 2 ways we try to approach them. Yeah, but mostly we can only approach rural area near Hanoi. It's harder for us to approach rural area in southern part of Vietnam because we are lack of resources.
Yes, so you mentioned that like we are like in Vietnam where you lack the adjudicators and also like lack of the resources of human resources. But I happen to know that there are a lot of Vietnamese students who study abroad, like in Japan, in Korea, and also in, I also happen to start debating in different communities and also want to come back and contribute something to the Vietnamese community. So I just wonder, do you have any plans to include the people, like to house, to use the people, to when they come back, like when they want to contribute to Vietnamese communities in a certain way?
So I believe that is also like, the same thing happens to many developing countries, because we have good students who travel abroad for their university study, and in Japan, in Korea, or in better developed debate community, they can join the debate community there, and they get much better. Because, for example, I also know some other debaters who start Vietnamese debate students who study in Malaysia or America, and they became very good debaters. But first it's hard to contact them. Not all of them are very easy to contact, and secondly, because they are normally they will base in that country. So the most obstacle for us for every tournament, or not all tournament, debate camp or anything, is that we need to invite trainers or invite educators from somewhere else. So we will need to pay the same amount of money to fly that educator to back to Vietnam compared to other international trainers or educators. And I know that sometimes they can be back to Vietnam for some personal duties or something, and we can ask them to have, but it's not something sustainable, because they will only be in Vietnam for a very short time, and when it comes at very short notice, it's hard for us to make the plan well planned for that. So, and also all of them when they decided to study abroad, most of them will have their own personal plan there. So it's hard for us to like adopt a plan with someone else abroad. Yeah. For example, one Malaysian debater I know, he only back to Vietnam for 1 week and then he now moved to Australia moved forever to Australia. So it's hard for us to like gather them for have in the community.
Okay, thank you.
So I think a follow-up from that suggestion is, I know you've now organized the Vietnam Debate Association, and one of the ways in which you can just pool the existing resources that you have together is to get all of these debaters who are studying abroad, who are Vietnamese, in Japan, in Korea, in Australia, and so forth. Just have them as the pool of network. And obviously, if they're away, then you can't access them. But then, as long as, you can't access them during tournaments, for example. But at the same time, if they are a part of your network and they are interested parties in the Vietnam Debate Association, and they are getting information about when tournaments and workshops are happening, then they could also get in touch with you because they're interested parties when these things are happening. Right? So I think the Vietnam Debate Association is definitely one platform that you can use and just tie everyone together, either via Facebook network, Facebook page, or some other network, so that all of them kind of stay connected.
Thank you so much for your suggestion.
Okay, thank you, Mark. It's time. So thank you very much.